try to justify my love by telling all of you about the new science on reading fiction, but I only have 7 minutes. Apparently, functional MRIs of the brain show heightened connectivity in the left temporal cortex, the area of language comprehension, which doesn't occur with screen time. We are better able to bridge differences and put ourselves in someone else's shoes. None of this may be true, but because I started to care about sharing books, especially picture books, with young children everywhere, this story is a variation on that theme. My grandfather was born in a tiny village in South India and came to America in the early 60s. His village is a dry place, with little employment besides agriculture, a few peanut farms and mango orchards. Over the years, almost all of my extended family migrated away to big cities. Around 10 years ago, some family members, including a music teacher and a lawyer, wanted to build a school in this place because the existing schools are limited and had trouble maintaining teachers. Meanwhile, I'd been visiting Bangalore periodically. Hearing about the school, I wanted to see it, and made a 3-hour drive over rural roads to get our first sight. A concrete building, essential dirt ground for play, children sitting on the floor working on slates with chalk. We realized that there was no library, and so we returned the next year, carrying a few suitcases worth of old books. It wasn't in a library. Back at home, the Gilroy Public Library held a sale of discards and donations once a month. I went frequently to collect books and to help the volunteers set up. The main issue was what to choose. For a place that is halfway across the world with a very different context, how was I to decide what would be appropriate? Would a book on snowflakes broaden their imagination and fill the students with wonder? Or would it be such an alien concept that they wouldn't be able to relate to it? I'm still trying to answer these questions, to take what is most interesting and helpful, but I'm pretty sure I don't need too many books on the history of extreme trampolining. On the next trip, I realized that simply collecting and transporting books was far from enough. What was needed was an organized library, with an inventory, a lending system, and a way to evaluate its use and future needs. I researched and selected a simple cataloging method, with the use of a numeral from 0 to 9 for each subject area, and color coding for categories. The key to this organizational system was a hand-drawn poster in English and Telugu, the local language. The books were all kept in glass cases, so they wouldn't be destroyed by critters or dust. Termites, silverfish, and mold are a big problem in these parks and can quickly destroy paper. That year, my brother, cousins, and aunts came together and helped with the big task of cleaning, sorting, and labeling. Over the course of a week, we organized and displayed all the materials, cataloging over 900 books in all. I talked to students from every grade, and some teachers too, to understand what types of books were being enjoyed and looked at the most. Many students looked for sports figures, such as cricket players, or the women tennis star Sanya Mirza, who is just in the Olympics. Even older students seemed to benefit from sports or picture books. I now had a clear direction for the year to come. Some insights that I gained were books are considered too valuable. Paper is precious. In the year I was gone, the library was being used primarily on-site, for fear that students and even teachers might lose or destroy the books. I felt that communicating use was far more important than maintaining the books without damage. This is somewhat of a new concept. My father recalls his schools in India keeping books in glass cases and not releasing them into his longing hands. I promised the teachers that I expected some books to disappear, and I would gladly replace them each year. I was delighted to see that on my return, they were being taken into the classrooms, and after I set up a lending portion, they were even being checked out to take home. While students in the village and all across India grew up being taught to have a deep respect for books and reading in general, they'd still rather watch TV than read. Some homes in the village own a television set, and often, other villagers will come into those few houses to watch whenever the power is on. If they're not in school, the kids would be working in the fields with their parents or playing in the dirt. Just like all of us, they have endless distractions. So here's the main challenge. What can I do to attract the students to this school library? They have minimal exposure to print media outside of school textbooks, so this library is their only source of outside reading. Like young people everywhere, they are drawn to readable, colorful, easily accessible books and magazines. Knowing that a single picture can bring me back to a place of wonder, I believe that the artwork alone can be a revelation. Are books really useful to anyone? I tried to look for evidence, and there really haven't been any studies of this. Do I care? Not really. Because if you would enjoy reading Babar or Curious George to a child you know, then every child deserves a picture book. And this is where I can continue to make a contribution. The teachers and families supporting the school have so many pressing issues to manage, from providing nutritious meals, drinking water, and healthcare, to setting up school curriculum that leads to standardized statewide testing. The families supporting the school, my family continues to do the ongoing daily work. My music teacher aunt brings Montessori teaching techniques to the preschool and kindergarten. My retired professor grandmother teaches a botany class. My lawyer aunt supports the teachers daily from the city by text and phone. And from here, my mother searches for books in Telugu, although they're hard to come by. Teachers have started a science fair that surrounding schools attend. Art class is largely clay sculpture, taught by a wonderfully creative instructor from a traditional potter family. So, I didn't get to talk much about how I started by reading aloud to kids in my doctor's waiting room in Salinas, or how I collected books to take to local daycares, because I went global unexpectedly. I hope to keep working with the local and the global, with kids everywhere, and get better at creating a moment of fun for any child around the world. Thank you.